You keep score in other people's faces. You change yourself until you fit their smile. Then you wonder why you feel empty next to them. You think you want connection. What you actually want is permission. You want them to say yes, to like you, to stop looking at you with that small, suspicious silence. So you become agreeable. You become easy. You answer before the question finishes. You laugh at jokes that aren't funny. You agree to plans you hate. You stay late at work to earn the nod. You mute the part of you that might cause friction. You perform. At first it feels safe. Approval is warm and predictable. It soothes the worry that you will be rejected, left out, abandoned. Your brain learns the quickest path to comfort. If their approval reduces anxiety, do more of what brings it. The pattern cements. Praise becomes a currency. Anxiety becomes its enforcement. The rule is simple: be likable, be safe, and you will stay connected. This is how people-pleasing becomes a survival strategy. Not because you are weak, because early life taught you that closeness required compliance. A smile was conditional. Love meant agreement. So you internalized the contract to keep people in, keep them pleased. The more you pay in approval, the more you think you are buying belonging. And then intimacy dies. You think you're building bridges. You're actually building a stage. Conversation shifts from exchange to performance notes. You monitor tone, you tailor stories, you censor opinions that ripple. The other person begins to expect the version of you that comforts them. They like the predictable script. They relax. But they never truly meet you. They meet the actor who keeps the show smooth. Think about the partner who always says yes to plans, who never picks fights, who always adapts. They seem easy to love, but the relationship plateaus. There is no crackling honesty, no real risk. Over time, the partner who adapted begins to feel hollow and then resentful. The silence grows heavy. Small slights calcify. The person who held back their truth explodes or withdraws. Intimacy becomes suspicious. Is this real devotion or a carefully maintained act? At work it looks different but the same. You volunteer for extra tasks. You accept credit quietly. You hedge your voice in meetings. People notice your reliability. They rely. They expect more. Your calendar balloons. You burn out. You tell yourself you earned this. Inside, you feel exploited. Colleagues smile while your exhaustion presses against your throat. You start to resent the very praise you chased. Your loyalty becomes leverage for them. Friends too. You keep score of favors and then count them silently. You say yes to last-minute requests even when you need rest. You smile, but your evenings are smaller. You stop inviting your messy truth. The friendship becomes a string of obligations and polite laughter. At some point, someone else says something in a blunt, careless way. The dam breaks. The resentment you hid becomes a volcanic confession. They didn't know because they had been loving a version of you who never caused waves. So why does this happen in us? The brain is a pattern seeker. It notices contingency. Early experiences teach it what behavior brings reward and what behavior brings pain. When approval once meant safety, the brain maps approval to survival. Dopamine and relief mark appeasement as beneficial. Over time, avoiding conflict and gaining validation becomes habitual, automatic. The voice that asks, "Will they like me?" becomes louder than the voice that asks, "Who am I?" There is another mechanism at play: identity outsourcing. You begin to define yourself by others' reactions. Your sense of worth slides off your own chest and rests in someone else's palm. When they smile, you glow. When they frown, you wilt. You stop being the author of your life. You become a mirror. And mirrors don't give back warmth. They only reflect what is shown. That mirror hides a dangerous secret. Approval is conditional. People who love you for the agreeable version of you are not in love with your complexity. They love a safety pattern. When you finally express anger, when you finally set a boundary, when a need emerges that breaks the script, they may pull away. not because love ended, but because the predictable pattern was interrupted. You are suddenly unfamiliar. That unfamiliarity triggers their own insecurity. They interpret your change as betrayal, so your honest move is punished. The message returns you as safer when you perform. The loop tightens. The emotional consequence is corrosive. You become lonely in a crowd. You have many acquaintances who like your performance and very few people who hold you when you dissolve. You carry a slow, burning anger toward yourself for selling parts of your life. You distrust your desires because they used to cause loss. You become allergic to risk. Vulnerability, the very path to deep intimacy, feels like walking into enemy territory. There is a quieter pain too. Without practicing disagreement, you lose the muscle for it. Conversations flatten. Conflicts either explode or never happen at all. Your relationships become brittle. They can only survive as long as everyone keeps pretending. This is not closeness. This is a mutual truce built on a mission. You can see the signs in small things you already recognize. You hesitate to voice a preference. You rehearse your answers. You apologize when no one asked you to. You accept the blame to keep the peace. You feel resentful but guilty about feeling resentful. That confusion is not weakness. It's a symptom. Reclaiming yourself doesn't require heroics. It begins with tiny, verifiable experiments that teach your nervous system a new contingency. Say no to something small that cost you nothing important. Notice the tightness in your chest. Notice the world not collapsing. Repeat. Practice disagreeing without adding explanations. Let silence sit after your assertion. Watch how other people actually respond when you stop performing. Name the feeling before you act. When someone asks you to do something, pause. Ask yourself, is this because I want to, or because I want their approval? Say the actual answer aloud if you can. I can't tonight. That doesn't work for me. You will feel awkward. That awkwardness is the signal that you are retraining a reflex. Expect backlash. Some relationships will flinch. Some people used your compliance like a vice. Their reaction is not a moral condemnation of your truth. It is a reaction to losing a reliable external regulator. Give yourself time to deal with the fallout. Boundaries sometimes cost people. They also reveal who wants you as a whole person and who wanted a version that never demanded anything. Here is the final truth you have been avoiding. Approval is not the same as intimacy. Approval is applause. Intimacy is exposure. You cannot be fully known if you are constantly performing. The price of being liked is the theft of your private life. The price of being real is temporary discomfort, messy conversations, and sometimes loss. But the alternative is a life of comfortable loneliness. If you keep seeking others to validate your value, you will keep losing the people you want most. The only relationship that can save the rest is the one you build with yourself. Learn to tolerate being unliked by the wrong people. Practice telling the truth in small doses. Watch how your face looks when someone sees the real, imperfect you and stays. You will lose the applause. You will gain a single, terrifying thing: the possibility of being loved for who you are, not for the performance you can sustain. That is how intimacy survives. That is how you stop being hollow in a room full of nods.